Hey there, Julia here. Today I am refreshing my fountain pen and ink rotation. Last month was a successful one overall. There were a lot of winners, but I also learned a lot about my maybe shifting preferences and just trying to intentionally successfully match up the right pens and nibs with the right inks. This month I am doing my usual March thing. Maybe I'll show you my last 2 ink journal lineups for March, but I am very basic when it comes to March. I'm pulling out greens and golds for St. Patty's and ushering in springtime, even though we haven't had much of a winter in southern New Mexico this year, but still, we like to romanticize the seasons. Also, thank you guys so much for the wonderful, just put me in my feels, the feedback in the 10K giveaway form, like the survey. Those have been so fun to look through and get inspiration from and all of that, so thank you. And lots of talk about my nails. So I will try to remember to put my nail polish in the description. I do my own nails. I have been doing them for a little bit now, and so I do, much like ink, I have fun kind of choosing my nail color, and right now I'm in this cat eye phase. So yeah, just a little side note there. Let's talk about the one pen and ink that I am carrying over from mid-month last month, and it won't be a surprise. It is the Leonardo Magico in Love Letter, and it's inked with Robert Oster and me. Love Letter. So this came out mid-February, and I cannot believe that it sold out in 24 hours. It's insane. So thank you so much. I've been loving watching the unboxing videos and just seeing all the love around this pen, which that was the point. I'll leave the video all about the process of this pen up here. But even aside from that, taking me out of it, I love this pen. It's beautiful. It writes like a dream. I have it in a medium and I also have it in a fine as well, but this is the medium, and I really love the ink. The ink is so fun, you'll see it. But I do want to say, as I'm swatching the ink here, that if you have this pen, please, please, please get a hold of me. Take a photo of it and send me a photo and let me know which number you have, because I want to make a fun little poster and print them out and stick them in the studio here, and I think that would be so fun. And maybe, hey, we'll make it a printable if you care to have all of the Love Letter pens as well. And I think I'm going to keep the same currently inked layout as the last couple of months. Maybe I'll switch it up next month and have a quarterly layout, a quarterly currently inked layout, just to switch it up. So right now this ink is sold out as well, but there are rumblings, as far as I know, that it may get restocked, and that would be awesome. So if you are interested in grabbing Love Letter, definitely let Endless Pens know, because they are fielding interest. And I think it's important to say, because on the Endless Pens website, on the listing for this pen, it mentioned that the nib was fixed inside of this pen. However, that is not the case. I know with mine, and I've heard from others, that you can change out this nib. It just unscrews like any other Yovo number 6 nib, and you can swap out nibs as you see fit. I know that some Magicos are not like that. Sorry, small detour. Like my sea sand, I don't think that, yeah, I can't unscrew. So I don't know if they're making, like they're in the middle of a transition where they want them to not, this is a great match too, where they want all of the nibs to be, you know, permanently affixed to the section here, but it is very hit or miss. But this one does unscrew, which I'm very happy about because I, as you probably know, like to change my nibs quite a bit. I love this ink so much. It has some just really cool undertones, and on different papers it pulls out different colors, and it's a hard one to photograph and to get right on video, but just trust me on that one. It's very interesting and subtle. Okay, next up, I wanted to go ahead and do the member's choice for this month, just right off the bat. So the members in the Creative Circle have access to my full pen, ink, and nib collection. I'm working on my custom nib grind little database, but they get to request what they want to see or learn more about in this member's choice pen and ink pairing. They also get access to like mid-month check-ins with the currently inked and just extra content in general. But I have mixed some requests this month. So they came up with the Esterbrook Estie in the Peacock colorway. And this one has a scythe nib installed in here, and I've inked it up with Teranishi Innocent Mauve. And so I thought this was hilarious. The request for this Esterbrook Peacock pen was like, it looks like it's Lucky Charms on acid or something like that. And I was like, yep. I mean, it's so kind of different than the rest of the pens that you'll see, but also fits in because of Lucky Charms on acid. So yeah. This one is an older Esterbrook colorway. I feel like I've heard rumblings that they may be re-releasing this, but do not hold me to that because I know nothing. This one is funny because I think I mentioned last time I inked it up, which it's been a while, but that it had a crack, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it right here. And the cap just had a crack right here. So thanks to one of you, you suggested a UV glue, and so I did do that. I put a little bit of the UV glue here, pressed together as it was curing, much like the nail thing, and it's been fine ever since. The crack has not spread, nothing, it just seems like it's not there. So shout out to that suggestion because it worked perfectly. I definitely wanted to see this up next to Love Letter. I don't think they'll be too similar, but I think they will look pretty next to each other. They're a little more similar on camera, it looks like, versus in real life. This is more vibrant, maybe more like a true purple, and this is more like a dusty, desaturated color. So the scythe nib, this was ground by Kirk Spear, and this one is basically like, it's an architect style grind. It is more of a curved architect, so a little more user-friendly if you don't love the sliciness, the usual kind of like sliciness of an architect. It took me a little bit to get used to an architect, but now I love them. Especially this curved one just feels a little more smooth, like the flow of writing, we'll say, is a little bit more smooth when writing. Where is my blotter paper? What are we doing? All right, here we go with the Architect. So thin down strokes, thicker cross strokes. This one started off as a fine, so it is very subtle, the variation you have in the downstrokes and the cross strokes. Oh yeah, we want to write member's choice somewhere. Yeah, I think this one is going to be a fun one. It seems like a really nice match. All right, the next pen that I have in rotation this month is this super cute Sailor Pro Gear Slim Mini. This is in the Helianthe colorway, and I got this beauty in Japan, and if you've seen that video, then you know that I really loved the Helianthe resin here. This design really reminded me of the water and stones walking along Philosopher's Path. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's gonna make me think of that every time, and it does. So I have a medium fine nib on this one. Definitely needs to be posted to be a decent length in the hand there. But I have this inked up with Fanyantan Japanese Black Pine. So I'm gonna be super transparent here. I had this inked up with another ink, the Bungu Box Autumn and Winter Tea, and it matched this kind of yellow-green color a lot more closely, but after I did like that initial, like, let me just do a couple of, figure eights or whatever, it was dry. And I was like, we are learning from our past currently inked, so I'm just gonna get something else that's a little more wet. And hey, it might not match exactly, but I just really wanted to try this darker green. Fanyantan is a Chinese brand, and so in Australia sells bottles and samples of their ink, and I have a couple now. I have a small little bottle of another one of their inks too, and they seem really nice, like maybe medium wet, but I can't really say because I haven't had it inked up in anything yet, so I can make some opinions or some observations this month about that brand. We're gonna get some interesting sheening here, but the sheen isn't sheeny, if that makes sense. It's a very like matte, dull sheen. It's really interesting. Yeah, I think I'm gonna love this. This seems like a very nice everyday writer nib size. The color is dark enough, but also gives us something with the green. I love a green ink, by the way. And wow, yeah, not a straight on match. I have so many inks that I think would match a lot of these tones in here a lot better, but we're growing, we're learning, we're trying new things. Next up is a newer acquisition. I have not had this inked yet because I probably got this 3 weeks ago or so. It is another one of those, it gives Lucky Charm vibes, but this is the Montegrappa Tarvisium in the Paradise Falls colorway. It has a medium nib, and I think that this is so mesmerizing, and I love all of these colors in here. Like, matching opportunities are pretty endless. I have oranges and golds and greens and teals and turquoise and blues, so I'm gonna really enjoy finding fun matches to this pen. I only have one other Montegrappa, the Elmo one, and it's just black. It's just a straight up black silver trim pen, and I really love the way that that pen writes, so I was really excited to grab. I don't need a bunch of Montegrappas, but I thought that this one would be nice to add to the collection. The other Montegrappa I have is a fine nib, and so we have a medium nib, and I think we're good. But I have this inked up with, we have lots of samples today, which is nice because I need to get through those. But Birmingham Pen Company Salamander. Thanks to pen friend Jamie for this one. I would not post this. The post, it's mostly secure, but I say mostly, like it is not the most secure feeling post, which is fine. This is cartridge converter. Tarvisium. Very smooth writer. Do you see what I mean with Japanese black pine? Like, the sheen is not sheeny, like glistening, like glossy. It's like a matte sheen. It's so fun. Okay, the next pen that I have inked up in rotation is this gorgeous, I love this pen so much, this gorgeous Zodiac Pen Company Cancer model, and this is in the Jade Mermaid resin from Papa J Studio, and I got this for my birthday last year, had it commissioned with the blank, so I got the blank from Luke and then sent it over to Bart at Zodiac Pens, and he made this beauty happen. I just love all the color, the subtle sparkle. This little part, for some reason, just like brings me so much joy. But this right now, I have a journaler nib in here, and I have it inked up with Sailor Ink Studio 280, another sample. And I think I got this sample from Kristen at Kristen Creates. How I remember, like, yes, I do write down recently who gives me samples, like in ink swaps and stuff, in my ink directory. But a lot of these like earlier ink swaps, I did not do that at all. And it's just so funny, the things that I can remember and the things that I just, like, I can't remember some of the stuff I did yesterday, but man, I know whose ink vial this is and whose labels those were. It's insane. I'm not gonna be able to do my gradient if I go. We'll figure it out. Keep you up here. So the journaler grind is a great first grind. Gina Salarino at Custom Nib Studio does the journaler nib grind, but I definitely recommend it as a first custom nib grind if you're able to get an appointment with them. It is like a stub nib, but hold on, I know stub nibs are sometimes scary. It's way more round, and so it feels like your typical rounded nib, but there's a little flair to your writing. There's like just a little something there that doesn't disrupt your normal writing routine, I guess. It's really comfortable. I really like a journaler, so highly recommend. I think this is going to be a stellar combination. Yeah. So yeah, the journaler, thicker downstrokes, slightly thinner cross strokes. I would say it's like a stub light. But yeah, I think this is going to be great. We get lots of variation in the ink there, which kind of matches the variation in some of the resin here. Again, not a spot on match. I definitely could have got in there with a closer match, but I think this is going to be, as far as compatibility with the pen and the ink, I think this is going to be great. Next up is another new acquisition. I actually sold 2 or 3 Kaweco Sports to fund this Kaweco. This is the AL Sport in Olivine. Beautiful color. I've had my eye on this one probably since it came out, but I was just unsure if I wanted to dive into the AL Sport. And what made me really just be like, all right, it's time, is after I used the Hungdian M2 last month and just really enjoyed that. That one was probably like my second favorite out of that lineup last month. And so I went and sold a few Kawecos that weren't getting used as much to get this one. Beautiful olive color. I got the additional clip here. The clips do not come with these pens. You have to get them separate. This has a fine nib, and I have it inked up with an ink from my inks to use in 2026, so we can check it off the list there. This is Birmingham Pen Company Oak Moss. Another one from pen friend Jamie. Thank you, Jamie. Now this one I do think is one of those more like spot on matches. I'm super happy with the way that they look together. Feeling really confident about this pen and ink pair as well. It's not as wet flowing as some of these others, but I think that it just feels really comfortable and just really, I don't know, classy and subtle together. All right, the next one I actually had inked in January as well, but I just wasn't 100% happy with the ink that I chose in January. And since it was a new pen then, and I was so excited about it and I went through so much to get it, and yeah, I just wanted to try it again with a different ink and hope that I could find something that, I don't know, made me like the pen more. Like, I took my frustrations out on the pen and maybe my experience with that when I just think that it wasn't a good pair in January. But this is the Aurora 88 in Volterra. Just so gorgeous. Look at the way the light catches some of those little facets in those pieces. It's so gorgeous, and I love like these little gold areas around the facets here. They're not facets really, but yeah, so pretty. So this time around, I have this inked up with Diamine Sepia. We're matching the gold areas that I showed you. We're matching that kind of bronzy hardware here. So we shall see. So far, so good. I actually wrote with this in my morning pages this morning, and I think we have a winner. Like, it's way nicer to write with. It's wetter than I think what was in there in January. Nagasawa Tono and Limbs Mushroom Cream, which is a beautiful ink. I love the ink. It was the perfect match for the pen aesthetically, but in practice, it was not a great match. I had to tear out this page because last night I spilled a drink on my ink journal. I stopped breathing for a few seconds at least and went into panic mode, but luckily everything was fine. I only had this one page here, a casualty, and I just had to kind of dry off the cover. Luckily, in arm's reach, I have this like craft dryer. So I immediately turned that on and everything was fine. It's so much better. We still get some feedback, which is fine. I'm thinking that in Chicago, for the Chicago Pen Show, that I might get this tuned. Maybe smooth. Is that sacrilege for an Aurora to be smoothed? I just think I would like it a tad more if it wrote a little wetter too. But with the right ink, like this is definitely writing a little more wet, a little more flowy, if you will, with this ink. So it's just so interesting. If you don't love a pen and you can't put your finger on it, try a different ink. Sometimes that makes all the difference. But yeah, this is a gorgeous match. Maybe you can't see it too much in the swatch, but in writing it is so good. Continuing with this gold vibe, the next pen that I have inked up is the BENU Euphoria in the Golden Beach colorway. You gotta have your pot of gold, right, for St. Patrick's Day. And this is what the vibe was for this one. And this has a medium nib. I've been loving my Euphorias. especially like, yes, this is very glitzy with the glitter and all of that, but it is also more chill compared to some of their other pens. And I like that the hardware is gold. It matches the pen. I have it inked up with Colorverse's Follow the Water from the 2025 Color Vent. This one is one of the top 3 vote getters. So this will be available in bottles soon, maybe now, I'm not sure. But I know that I voted for Follow the Water because I thought, well, you'll see. It's a beautiful ink. It is a little more watery and probably a little more shady than I typically go for, but I guess this month will be a tester to see if I actually want to get a bottle or just stick with my sample and use that up. It does have, I think, like a blue, yeah, like a turquoise bluish shimmer in there. And I got that sample from pen friend Marcia. Pen friend and actual friend. These are just so comfortable. Like, it's nice, at least for me, my crazy long fingers, like a nice long grip section. The step into the threads here is pretty smooth. And then I don't really even touch this other step that much. So, am a fan. Ooh, I just realized Golden Beach, Follow the Water. I love that. Yeah, this is maybe right on the edge where it might start getting too shady, but it's on the good side. I really enjoyed writing that just now. All right, next up is a pen that I got at the Tokyo International Pen Show. Have not inked it up yet, so this is its maiden voyage. It is the Eboya Hakobune, which means ark or boat in Japanese, but this is the Crema Cafe colorway and it has a medium fine nib. And I was playing around with the nibs, trying to figure out if it was Yovo, if it was Bach, if it was an different, an in-house, like different type of nib. And it is, I think, a Bach nib. However, I could not just put another Bach nib in here because it was too long and I couldn't cap it. So I don't know. I guess the nib themselves are shorter to be able to fit in this particular pen. Not sure, but it is a medium fine. It's installed with the nib that it came with, and I'll probably just leave it in here instead of putting it in my drawer of loose nibs. I have it inked up with Birmingham Pen Company. Ooh, is that 3 for this one? 1. Yeah. Birmingham Pen Company Burlywood, and I got this sample from local pen friend Johnny. I do love doing this like Irish St. Patrick's Day color story for March too, because it also gives a little bit autumnal, and it's gonna be a while before we fully go into autumn vibes. So this is just like it's a nice little treat to get to use these for spring too. Speaking of, very exciting, we are going to Ireland later this year, before the Dutch pen show. So we'll be in Ireland and then fly over to the Netherlands for the Dutch show. I'm so excited because the first time that I found out about pen shows, actually, we were in the Netherlands and we were flying out the day before the Dutch pen show. And so we tried to get our flights switched over just like a couple of days, because it was just a one-day show at that point. And it was like something crazy to switch our flight, like maybe $2,000 each to switch our flights for one day. So it feels very full circle to be able to go to the Dutch pen show this year. If I did not mention before, this has a medium fine nib. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love the nib as is. So we also could be getting this tuned or smooth or something in the near future, or just maybe find another nib to pop in there. But it is a super groovy pen and really would go well with a lot of these brown tones, even this. Okay, before I get into the gradient and all of that, I just want to show the past two currently inked for March. So this was 2024. So we have some of the same kind of golds in here, of course, green, and even like this almost tealish blue-green. That's crazy. And then March in 2025 looked like this. So we even have a little bit of the purplies in there, of course. We have some golds and some greens. This one's way more green leaning than this year's. So it's just really fun to go back and see how seasonal the inks are. All right, let's do the gradient. It's gonna be pretty small. I'm gonna try to keep it pretty chill and maybe not include the carryover. Okay, so here we are with March's lineup. The gradient is super pretty. I love it on this side because we have a little more variation in tone, but let's look closely at this month's pen and inks. Okay, carrying over, we have the Leonardo Momento Magical in Love Letter, and that's inked with Robert Oster and myself, Julia here, with Love Letter as well. Next up is the Member's Choice. This is the Esterbrook Estie in the Peacock colorway, inked with Teranishi Innocent Mauve. Next, we have the Sailor Pro Gear Slim Mini in the Helianthe colorway, inked with Fanyantan Japanese Black Pine. And this is just such a pretty ink. I'm obsessed with the subtle sheen here. Next is the Montegrappa Tarvisium in the Paradise Falls colorway. This has a medium nib and is inked with Birmingham Pen Company's Salamander. I just love when it catches, like it's such a great match when it catches like this little bit of blue-green in between the colors. Then we have the Zodiac Pen Company Cancer model. This is in the Jade Mermaid resin. It's inked up with Sailor Ink Studio 280. Beautiful match. Next is the Kaweco AL Sport in Olivine. Gorgeous with a fine nib. This is inked up with Birmingham Pen Company's Oak Moss. I don't know if it gets any closer than this one. It's such a spot-on match. Inked up again in March is the Aurora 88 Volterra with the fine nib. This is now inked up with Diamine Sepia. Then we have the BENU Euphoria in Golden Beach with the medium nib, inked up with Colorverse Follow the Water. Also a really solid match color-wise here. And then finally, the Eboya Hakobune in Crema Cafe with a medium fine nib, inked up with Birmingham Pen Company's Burlywood. All right, we definitely have a nice mix of pens and color ink tones, so I'm excited about really getting into these a bit more throughout the month, especially with my morning pages now. New habit, been loving it, but I've been getting to use my pens in more long form writing, which I really think makes a difference in my overall thoughts and the adjustments I want to make and things like that. So I feel like I'm getting more use, like everyday use, out of my pens this year. So that's really nice. Let me know what you're excited about inking up down in the comments. I always love to hear what you have inked up. I always end up Googling things and looking at swatches and all of that, so that's always really exciting. I will leave you with more info on all of my journals and planners that I'm writing in this year. I'll leave that for you right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.